Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How
How
are
is
you all?
everybody in the land of the internets? How are you, Robin?
Oh,
It's just one of those days.
those days for weeks. I guess everybody's feeling the same, really. It's half term here.
Yeah.
Uh, that brings with it a whole different set of problems. The usual run of things. I
Whole
think I
different.
always say the only thing worse than the kids being at school is when the kids are at home.
Yep.
Um,
In fact, I'm quite happy
so,
when the kids are at school.
well, it's hard work. There's lots of running around, and obviously they're not in the daytime, but then there's clubs and all sorts of stuff like that. Although I don't know why I'm talking about this, but my kids' football matches have still gone on over half term, and they've changed the league, and we had to go an hour to play 11-a-side football for kids who, frankly, aren't that good at football. It's just a point. I mean, there must be teams closer by. we live near,
That's
we live in
extreme.
Surrey. There must be teams closer by without having to go all the way around the M25.
I'm
Um,
so glad that my kids don't like football. Just
yeah.
so happy with that.
Well, I don't actually quite enjoy going, but it's just going for that distance
For
but
that.
there's so many teams to buy, especially at the moment. So we're deep into tier two territory. We're in tier one at the moment,
All right.
and deep into tier two territory, and it just seems like a foolhardy in the extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I figure the easiest way around it was to tell my kids, after every match they killed one of the players at random, and then that way they weren't interested in doing it anymore. Do you want to try football, kids? No, God no.
Yeah, yeah, that might have worked. No, but my youngest is not my youngest. My middle is actually quite well. He's not quite talented really. Because when you see kids and he's pretty good, but then you see kids who really can play, and you think bloody hell. He's one of those. He's pretty good on the playground,
Yeah.
but when they step it up a level, he's not going to make a profession out of it. Put it that way.
But yeah, I mean, you see some kids online, especially. You see kids online and around the world and stuff, and it's just insane what some kids get up to.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
leads us into what we're talking about tonight, all around the world.
All around the world. Oh, you are
See
brilliant.
that
Love it.
segue. See that segue. It's beautiful. So yeah,
I've actually talking about Aussie rules now. I have actually been to an Aussie rules match at the Sydney Cricket Ground
I thought that was just the punch up that happens after the football
back in
match.
the day. Back in the day, it was really good actually. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
So who have
and
we
I was
got?
in I was in Melbourne. One of the big. What's the big VJ's in? What's the big game in Melbourne between two? There's two big teams. I think I might be on Anzac Day. Maybe that was classic. I was in Melbourne for that,
Mm,
and that was. I didn't go to the game, but just happened to be in Melbourne at the time. It was buzzing. It was really nice because in complete difference to English football, English soccer, when the two teams are the fans can go to the ground together and sit with each other because they don't sort of
kick the crap out of each other.
fight, stab one another.
It's part of Aussie rules, isn't it? You have to have a knife that's at least 5 inches long.
The AFL Grand Final. There we go.
There we are. So we've got lots of people online tonight already, which is great to see, and people from all around the world. I believe Valentin was the first post, but he was posting this morning today to say that he was knackered after some online gaming, so he was going to have to give it a pass. But he did want us to give a shout out to his Straight Out of Shadespire webcam tournament, which people should join, and that's obviously open to everyone around the world, which is another little handy little
Yes,
tie in
another
there.
around the world. That is like a truly international tournament, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And it's I say it's invite only, but it's not because everybody's invited.
Yep. And the good thing about it is it's only single games. You play 4 games. It's best of ones. It's only about 3-4 hours you've got to have put aside for it because you're only going to play 4 games. But the good thing is there's no prize, and people might immediately go, why bother then? But that sort of takes the pressure out of it. There's no prize you've got to worry about doing well for or anything like that. You can just go along, play some games, have some fun with people, and that's all it's all about. So it's nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really fun. I wish my life was set up for so many things, but I wish my life was more set up for playing. But for some reason, it's not. I think it's just because weekends are mental.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Weekends. I don't know how people with kids who do the tournament manage it. Really, I think they just have much more understanding other halves.
that could be it. It could be it. I have got 3 kids. That's partly my excuse. And one of them always wants to say, I've been building a castle today. because it's my son's history homework is build a castle. So I've been building a castle. Now I am kind of, whereas most dads can do other things that I can't do, like build bikes and repair things. I can actually, I do have some of the tools.
You're like, building a castle, bring this shit on. This is what I was built for.
Yeah, it's like when he was doing the Romans. I logged onto the Warlord Games website and bought a Roman Gladiator and painted it up for him. Actually, no, he painted it, but I helped him paint it. Today, the castle though mainly consisted of me doing a load of stuff and him coming in every now and going, "How's it going?"
And you go, "Shut up, I'm busy." I remember my kid, my eldest, had one where I can't remember what the book was. It's something to do with them being in a forest, but he had to make one of the scenes from the book in a little diorama in a shoebox was the brief, and so like I went whole hog on this. We went and got modelled trees, and we got bits of slate, and we got clay, and we modelled all this and painted and everything. And I remember taking it in with him, or it was a few weeks later, we went to like a parents' evening, and we went in, and I saw his on display, and there were other kids' ones there, and it's like, all they've done is just chuck some twigs and leaves in a box. That's not, what's that? This one's got actual miniature trees in it and everything. He didn't get any kind of award for it. It's disgusting.
No, I've got an even better piece of crap marking than that. Just purely by coincidence, when my oldest was doing a project on space in school, purely by coincidence, Geek Dad had an interview with Buzz Aldrin because he was doing something to do with one of the Mars missions, and they were saying, "Is there anything you want to ask Buzz Aldrin?" So I got my boys to ask Buzz Aldrin a question.
Cool.
In this interview, which was and then they recorded it, so it was audio, and I did the whole presentation anyway. Before that, it was all on the web. So rather than write it out, we did it all on the web. So we did like a web-based timeline, and in the timeline, we managed to put the questions answered by my two boys by Buzz Aldrin in the timeline. And the week we handed it in, we gave it to the team. It was parents' evening, and she didn't say anything about it, and she didn't say anything to my son about having Buzz Aldrin in this bloody thing. Yeah. Like, how often does that happen in the classroom?
Right, excuse me. Yeah. Buzz Aldrin, Buzz fucking Aldrin, love. Have you?
Exactly.
Do you realise what we just fucking did here? We blew your pissant homework out the water.
My youngest wasn't even born. He might have been born, but he wasn't old enough to ask Buzz Aldrin any questions. So it was my middle one. He asked, "Could you jump as high as a kangaroo?" Which the question impressively made Buzz Aldrin laugh at the thought of it. It was quite funny.
Excellent. I got my son the other week with a brilliant dad joke. I said to him, "I can jump higher than a house," and he just gave me that look as if to say, "That's impossible." And I said, "Houses cannot jump very high, as it turns out," and just got the eye roll, the extreme eye roll. I was quite happy with that one.
Yeah, no beef. I did mention we were talking about the castles. We just used some old terrain. I did suggest that because I've got the old Mighty Fortress in the garage, but he was very insistent that it had to be built. So we were cutting up Pringles tubes and all sorts of things today.
Maybe you can sell the Mighty Fortress and have enough money to do up the garage.
I don't know. How much is the Mighty Fortress worth?
I don't know. It's probably not that much, actually, to be honest. But
especially the way 14-year-old me put it together and painted it.
Stabbing it with the brush. Why doesn't it look like the box? Never looks like the box. Never looks like the box unless you're possibly Nerdy Rob.
I've still got the box as well, actually, funnily enough.
It's still in the box. Aren't we using the box to prop up some of the insulation tiles on the roof?
Yeah, we've just been looking at I forgot his name. The video you sent me, Pete.
Oh,
Blackjack
yes.
Legacy.
Blackjack
Legacy's video of his studio. I have to say, his looks a lot nicer than ours.
Because his doesn't look like a garage, strangely, but yes.
Yeah. To be honest, I mean, his was very neat and tidy, whereas if mine would look like a heap of shit, even if it was indoors. But yeah, it was much nicer than ours. Well, what's happened to Pete? He's gone. Oh my goodness. John Grant's got an unbuilt Mighty Fortress at his parents' house in Sheffield. I think we could get them together and build like a massive layout.
A mighty fortress.
A mighty fortress.
Yes.
Tim reckons about 200 now. I wonder what that comment was a reference to, because my mind immediately forgets what he just spoke. What's 200?
What's 200? I don't know what 200 is. Buzz Aldrin's not 200. He's much younger than that.
BJ says, is that a new video or an old one? It was after he'd gone. Yeah, it was after he'd gone full time, but it was actually 7 months old.
Yeah.
Just showed how fast time is going.
I was just being bitter and looking at his channel and how well he's doing, wondering why we're not doing that well. This was basically it, and I saw that and I was looking at it and thinking, bastard, that looks really nice.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
I don't think so.
The lack of subject-specific knowledge in teaching profession is more shocking. Well, I've set Jason off about teaching.
Yep. Well, my eldest wants to be a teacher, so maybe he won't be shit. He wants to be a history teacher, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Being a history teacher's got to be dead easy, right? Because it's already happened. So you just talk about stuff that happened. It's like what we do. We just talk about shit that happened.
I don't know. It'd be more easy to be a futures teacher because you can't be wrong. Because as long as you do far enough, as long as you do far enough in the future.
I like it.
Then,
Flying cars.
Yeah, I mean, don't do next week. Otherwise, you get found out. But 200 years time, sorted. You need to find you a reason to collab. We do need to do a collaboration because he's more successful than us. It's always a good way to collab.
We could literally pick anybody, and we'll do better out of it. So it doesn't matter who we pick really. Hello, Dead Hands. Dead Hands has arrived. Hello to everybody online and everybody tuning in to listen to us talk shite, basically.
We realised that we did almost no publicity for this live chat, which the idea was that we would get people from around the world to tell about their content and things. We completely forgot to advertise it.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm seeing a pattern as to.
Bit for global domination.
I think I'm seeing a pattern as to why we're not doing as well.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We just turn up each week and go, what's going on?
Week, as I said, this week has been nuts. I don't know where the time has gone. We were a bit disturbed because we couldn't meet last week. That kind of threw everything out. And so we met last night for our Wednesday night game or Thursday night game. We met last night, so it was thoroughly confusing. Yeah,
that did go a bit. It did throw things a bit haywire. My wife had suspected COVID symptoms, so we had to have a test, and that didn't arrive till like Saturday night late in the end. The result for that one, but thankfully she's okay. But it just threw everything out the window.
She just wanted 3 days away from Pete and the kids. I'm just going to shut myself in here.
I've got to stay in here. I've got to stay in the.
Just doing a test, darling. That's a pencil you're sticking up your nose. No, it's not. No, they're going to text me when the results are in.
honest. Into the Glory House says that I send them asleep. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Well, as long as you're not driving.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's all right.
I know that, is it Justin on Battlecast? He has a very zen voice. A lot of people like listening to all that.
He does. People reckon he should do ASMR, don't they?
Yeah. I think if I tried to do ASMR, it'd be like Gilbert Gottfried doing ASMR. It would not work.
Brian Blessed.
Yeah. Brian Blessed! Oh, I'd listen to him for hours, Brian Blessed. Doesn't he do some of the audiobooks? I might get the audiobooks just
He does the Gottfried ones, doesn't he?
I think he does Gottfried. I don't know if he does the whole book or if he just does Gottfried's voice. But either way.
Brian Blessed reading Josh Reynolds.
You just got whatever you do, you just got to shout really loudly near the microphone.
See what happens. See whether how long I can get through it. I should be less. I should be kinder.
You could be kinder.
Right. So International Underworlds
week. It's not, but
this came about because I just noticed there was like a few on Facebook. There were a few different people providing content. There was a German battle report and a guy in Russian, I think it was. He might have been from Ukraine, but there was a guy who was doing an unboxing in Russian, and he put English subtitles in, but it was some of the words were wrong. So I got in touch with him and said, I can't remember. We used a very literal translation of glory. I think I said that we call it. I might have been objectives, but anyway. But then I can't find them now. I searched before tonight. I thought, I better at least look for them so I can give them a shout out. I can't find them. They've disappeared. I must have seen them on Facebook, but they're not there anymore. And the Facebook album was weird, though. Did find random posts from sort of 2019 about games in Germany, but couldn't find the German report that was published about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know how that works.
You say the Facebook algorithm's weird. I think both Facebook and YouTube's weird, and none of it makes any sense to me. And I don't know. I've given up trying to work it out, especially from a video's point of view or anything like that. So, but yeah, trying to find stuff for Beastgrave You haven't missed much, by the way, Rosa. We've just been talking.
So Rosa just asked if he's missed much. Rosa, you missed literally nothing.
Literally nothing apart from us talking about our week and how it's been going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite hard to find stuff that doesn't seem to be English or English based. I can't find a lot at all. There's obviously a lot in Canada, and just in general battle reports. I was looking up, and maybe it's just the fact that my YouTube filter is searching more for English content or that kind of thing. There's I couldn't find masses for Underworlds for anything that wasn't sort of English. Obviously, we're probably one of the most prolific content providers for Underworlds. And there's a few others, obviously, Into the Glory Hole and Battlecast, both other channels which do it as well. But we at the moment probably the most prolific. But I couldn't find lots out there really at all. The odd unboxing here and there, that kind of thing. But that was kind of it.
Yeah, there's the guy at the moment. He's not doing battle reports, but he's doing the balancing videos. Which look kind of interesting. He's pumping those out at a good rate. I think there's been 2 this week, but I'm about. I don't know how many there's been. There's been 15. I'm 14 behind. I watched the first one, which was interesting, but I don't really get time to sit and watch other content. I've listened to your podcast. I've been listening to Path to Glory this week, which the American market seem to do like podcasts. There's lots of American podcasts, aren't there?
Yeah.
Or several, rather than lots. But I do like Path to Glory. But that's not really because that obviously is international in one sense. But I was kind of hoping that because I think there is this sort of scene in non-English speaking countries, but that we obviously rarely see it.
Yeah.
Nothing from the Italian stuff. Yeah, I mean there is the game's very strong in Italy. Obviously they had a big tournament over there, which contributed with a bit of controversy. And obviously we met Team Cavalli at the Grand Clash. Which is very exciting.
Easily some of the most excited people we've ever met. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Daniel Bungay says, "What the fuck? Hammer Underworlds does the balancing vids." I've watched some of the balancing vids and I like them. I feel like he's wasting his time on doing those. Only because I think you can come up with loads of different ways to balance these warbands. And then he comes up with some great different alternatives and ideas and stuff like that. But they're just never going to do them. It just feels like he could plough all of that creativity and inventiveness into something else more relevant. I don't know.
Maybe, but I suppose it's kind of up to the community there. They could take it and use it, or they could, GWC, there's merit in it, then maybe they would rethink.
Maybe.
I need to watch them. I need to find time to watch them. I should watch The Eyes of the Nine or something. And just start something saying I actually like to see balanced.
Morph points out that maybe podcasts are bigger in America because they spend a lot more time in their cars. I mean, maybe that's it. I just wonder if part of it's just the fact that I'm really out of date and I don't do podcasts. I'm a typical dad where I'm like, podcasts, I don't know what those are. Why can't you just watch TV like everybody else, kind of thing? So I just don't do podcasting.
I would agree with about the commute thing. I mean, I don't have a commute. So I don't watch them, and I'll listen to them. So I probably would do if I had one. But I tend to, if I'm cooking dinner, I might watch one then, listen to one then. But occasionally I actually put that on and try and watch it, actual television. Because I don't get much time to sit and watch telly. I don't know what I do in my time. I don't know. Everybody else seems to have time, and I just seem to waste mine. Probably because I keep trying to catch Pete up on the Patreon Discord.
I'm ahead. I do find that because generally if I don't have a commute these days, obviously because I'm working from home because of all the COVID stuff, so I get up early and then spend an hour on the computer in the morning before I start work, and that's the time I spend editing videos, and and sometimes in the evening once kids are in bed are the only times I then spend doing videos. But in the meantime, if I'm at work, I can't really watch videos or listen to podcasts because I'm obviously trying to concentrate on whatever else I'm doing. I can maybe listen to music, but music's not really the same as a podcast. Podcast you actually want to listen to and think about, and the rest of the time I'm like, I don't really have any times when I could listen to podcasts or watch battle reports, because if I've got that time that I could spend paying attention to that, I could be editing videos or maybe trying to get 10 minutes painting in instead.
I'm exactly the same, and like you can't watch a battle report and do something else because
You'll
Well,
miss
I can't
something.
anyway because if you missed it, you don't see it. You can listen to a podcast. I've started listening when I paint, but again, I don't paint very often. But when I paint, I've started listening to podcasts because you can listen and your hands are free, but you
Yeah,
can't really watch a video, a battle report, like because you can't see the dice rolls or
yeah.
the cards or whatever.
Replacement of
So
models and what people are doing, where they move things or something happens, and then the next minute you look, a model's gone, something else has moved, or you don't realise that something's charged. You sit there thinking, why aren't they doing this with that model? But you've missed the bit where they charge with it, or someone played a card, that kind of thing.
yeah, no Beaver's hit a really important nail on the head here. He's found it tough balancing making content and still enjoying the game itself. Yeah, I mean, you've recently started, haven't you, No Beef? And it's a tough time to keep going, I think, at the moment because you've so little variety. But that is a real battle, and I think I've been finding Underworld in particular more of a chore, probably due to lockdown and not getting out so much, and not. I think there aren't as many. I know there are competitions going on, but the community is less excited about the game. I think. Oh, I broke up there.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Broke
seem
up with
to.
me.
Sorry, yeah. Because what I meant to tell you is just it's just gone stale. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. Um, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, but I have found Underworld. I have this year enjoyed it gradually less and less. I still enjoy it when I get to the table, but the thought of it is becoming more challenging.
The thought of seeing me.
Yeah, finding decks or building decks or even finding decks is just I don't know. I haven't been excited by it for a while. And keep playing, but I have really enjoyed our game of Blitzball, which is coming out on YouTube this week.
Yep.
And I did it. Obviously, I've been enjoying Marvel Champions. We played a game last week, but I haven't been able to get that to the table at home since then. But it does. And I've tried a few digital things. I tried all Underworlds online. I tried Gloomhaven. But again, if you're making content, it becomes like oh crap, I've got to play Gloomhaven this week, otherwise I'm not going to have a video.
Yeah.
Then
you see something like Warhammer Underworlds Online, which obviously Underworlds Online is brilliant for the chance to be able to play people all around the world, but there's no interaction there. So you've got no way to communicate with the other person you're playing with. And I think Underworlds is such a social game. Well, all of these kind of games are social games. Not being able to communicate with the other person or having an ability to chat with them is just really painful. And then as well, on top of that, if you think I need to record some games to put on the channel, it stops being playing a game for fun then. Although playing Underworlds Online doesn't ever seem like a game of fun for me. It always seems like it's a challenge. I've got to win every time. So there's that immediate, right, now I'm doing it for the channel, so I've got to be more engaging. I've got to, be fun,
yeah,
but make it interesting, that kind of thing.
I think I felt that pressure in there. Not that I've got to win, but you've got to be competitive. You've got to make it. This is the physical game rather than Underworlds Online. You've kind of got that pressure that I mean, we do make mistakes. We make quite a lot of mistakes, but you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to build a terrible deck, and then you get to halfway through the game and you realise you have built a terrible deck, and that pressure is I find that quite hard. Underworlds Online, I find that even worse because I think it's one of those things I've kind of didn't quite get to the top where it became natural, and I kept making silly mistakes and like doing the thing where you charge by mistake, and then just got stressful.
Yeah.
And then sort of life took over, and I haven't got back into it. But
Jason
I've been
Newell's,
really enjoying the co-op game and Blitzball because it's silly and I don't really understand what I'm doing. And even Necromunda, actually, we played a game last night, and it started off and I was thinking, I really don't want to make any tactical errors here, but actually it was just a hell of a lot more fun. I stopped worrying about that and just got on with it and just sort of threw caution to the wind.
And then you get some stupid dice rolls and something silly happens when something should happen, and the 101 chance actually happens instead, and a grenade bounces off a wall and hits your leader in the face or something like that, and you can just laugh about that straight away, and it just takes all of the pressure off immediately to do anything like that.
So when I'm looking forward to Chasm, and I am enjoying the Underworld game, but I think it always in the build up it's always like, oh, and then we get to the game and I enjoy it. But it can get stressful, especially I say you do have that thing where you've built a deck and it hasn't worked, and you just think, oh god, I've got to play another game with this deck now.
Yeah, especially if you find out you've built an absolute mess of a deck. You're like, I don't want to play this again. It's just going to be annihilating. Maybe we need to do a swap function.
Into the Glory Hole said up there that because there's no tournaments, so there's less interesting decks. I feel like there are very efficient ways to play at the moment. 2 or 3 efficient ways to play. Although the Rippers deck surprised me that won the Canadian Grand Clash. Didn't really have any of what I would say were the traditional ways to play. Yeah, I'm waiting for Chasm to hopefully shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, Jason put a comment in saying a little bit saying if your job is doing something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. People who say that are filthy liars. No, they're true. It's just the fact that if your job is doing something you love, no one's going to be looking for people in that job, so you'll never get employment. That's why you'll never work a day in your life. Hello to Lang. I can't even pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Langveligus Profil.
Vidigus?
Could be.
Yeah. I don't know.
Your German's better than mine. But hello to Germany.
From Germany, yeah. Hello. Well, thank you for coming.
Torceratops also says hello. Everyone, post in the comments where are you from, what country are you in. Don't have to be very specific, mother's maiden name, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Nice that you're out. We just to know.
Where is everyone tonight? That's what we're talking about tonight, and it mostly seems to be turning into a streamer's support session where we just moan. But yeah, where is everybody from? What kind of scene is it like where you're at? I think at the minute COVID has really, really deadened the local scene for a lot of people, and one of the reasons why right at the top of this the first comment we've got the Straight Out of Shadespire Cam tournament, which obviously enables the whole world to get together in one big circle of love to play some Underworlds.
We've got some lots of English people, and then Canadian, hello, and some Russian, hello Alex, in Russia, and lots of Aussies. I guess time zones make a difference for the live chat. Who's going to tune in? Aussies are just in the morning, isn't it? So you're kind of enjoying your cornflakes with us.
And it's a bit later now because the time zones of.
Oh, okay. Is it okay? Oh, stupid times. Yeah, but Europe, Russia must be quite late over there, Alex. You must be getting towards midnight. Although we have gone back an hour, haven't we? But yeah, into the glory hole in Wales. Who's going to play Lizardmen first in Warhammer Underworlds when they release?
What, between us two?
Hopefully us. Hopefully we'll get them early.
I don't think we will. We've got some more from Joseph from the USA. Sure. I suspect we'll get ours around the same as everyone else. It's 9 o'clock at VJ time. That's just perfect time now for you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Super keen for the Seraphon War, but I reckon the Seraphons, they could bring back the love.
I'm not massively a big fan of Seraphon. I know some people.
Russia.
Wow, that's dedication. Thank you for tuning in at that time. You've gone very quiet again, Robin.
Oh, sorry. I said yes, impressive.
No,
I think I just talked quietly. I think I was just musing. I was wondering whether to ask, because Russia's quite a big country, isn't it? I can't remember how time zones work there, whether they're... Because I know I've taken the Trans-Siberian Railway across Russia, and the train, the time is Moscow time all the way across, no matter how far across you are.
Really?
So, yeah.
That seems mad.
Well, because the timetable, I guess, otherwise it would get very confusing. So
I guess
always the train station's always the train is always on Moscow time, so it does get very odd because you go to the buffet car, it's lunchtime, but it's the middle of the night kind of thing. Not quite, but it is odd. Fantastic experience. Probably not right now, but
chilly. Chilly.
Well, it was. Well, I went at this time actually of the year. I don't know why I'm looking at the clock. I went about 10 o'clock.
Yes, it's about 10 o'clock. That's about the time I went. It was definitely around 10.
At the end of October, it was just starting to get cold. It snowed. They had the first snow in Siberia when I got there. So
crazy.
Yeah.
So we've got people from all over. We've got USA, we've got Germany, we've got Spain, we've got Russia, we've got Australia, we've got loads of people everywhere. I love seeing it. I love all of the online community coming together, and that's one of the good things about this game is with things like TTS or Vassal or and whether it's cam games even. There's just so many ways that you can get in touch with other people around the world, and I really hope that they introduce something in Underworlds Online soon to make some form of communication better there, because I quite like at the minute playing it when I'm playing in our Patreon Discord tournament, because I can actually chat with somebody, and when one of us has a horrible set of rolls, you can lament or celebrate those rolls together. But just playing against random nobodies, it's like, if you start having a bad game, the temptation to hit quit is very strong indeed, because there's just nothing there to keep you hanging around. But likewise, if you start doing really well, you can't commiserate with the other person and sort of go, I feel really bad about this, or that kind of thing. And I know some people really hate being told, I'm really sorry, I feel really bad about doing this, because they're like, just play the game and get on with it. But at least I have had games at the Grand Clash against Team Cavalli and others, where I've been absolutely annihilated, like 20-3 or something like that, but still had a really good time because you can have a good laugh about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking about trains.
I know. Should we get Stu
my other
on?
passion? Well, it's not a passion. I don't really like trains as such, but I love travelling by train. I would travel anywhere by train.
I think I quite like not in this country. I hate trains in this country, which is stupid.
If I haven't got the kids with me, I don't even mind going. When commuting is different, isn't it? But taking the train from sort of London to York or London to Edinburgh is great, particularly if you haven't got children with you.
yeah, it's one of those things. Trains in this country are okay as long as you're not on the commute. But yeah, I suspect that's probably the same everywhere. But yeah, good thing about trains is obviously you can just sit there doing your own thing and you just get to your destination. I mean, whilst I don't mind not having my commute going to work at the minute because we're all working from home and in lockdown, I did get that almost 2 hours a day to myself, just on the train, doing videos, editing videos and stuff. There's my little zen moment where I could just get on the train, sit down, pretty much in the same seat every time, and just get out of the Mac and start tapping away.
Jason has a friend who is posting stuff on Facebook about trains. It's weird. I suppose it depends on what he's posting.
If it's trains with like underwear superimposed on it or something, that's a bit weird.
That's weird. Or just going into tunnels.
And then back out the tunnel, and then back in the tunnel. And back up.
Yeah, I have a friend who really likes trains. Yeah, and I know what you mean.
Yeah, I think there's something cool about trains, right? Especially when they go hammering past you on the platform at like 90 miles an hour or whatever. There's just something quite awe-inspiring by that. But at the same time, you watch some people just sort of marking off trains, which just looks like every other commuter train. You just think,
that's not. I mean, we travel in Germany a lot by train, and on our honeymoon we travelled on to Paris from the train, and then from Paris to Switzerland, which was fab. So my wife likes trains too. We have a stairwell, and the house has metro maps all the way up the stairwell because we're that sad.
Because we are that sad. We have a slight delay, I think, tonight. I'm not sure why we're getting a bit of a delay on the feed. So if you post a question, you're wondering why we're not responding, we probably will be responding. It just takes a little while. Why am I sniffing a knife? I'm not. I've got a little. You can't really see. I've just got a serrated thing on my pen knife, and I just it's quite handy for combing the moustache.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see why we don't get so many hits on our live chat.
Because YouTube hates us. That's why. Rod says he hates public transport. He'd much rather drive. Well,
see, I'm the total opposite. Well, I wouldn't take a bus, but
I hate buses.
I'd much rather go on the train.
I detest buses with a passion.
I can avoid driving, I will.
John Grant points out that we do have to be very careful mocking train spotters. We do collect toy soldiers. That is very true. We do need to be very careful.
Yeah, there is a hierarchy of things, isn't there? I remember saying that about role players. Role players taking the people what they call bronies, people who like to dress up as My Little Pony.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't bronies just people who collect My Little Pony?
Is it?
And you've got furries.
This might be
Furries
brony cosplayers.
Furries are the ones that dress up in like animal costumes.
No, it was My Little Pony anyway. But there was a group of like Warhammerers taking the piss out of a group of My Little Pony enthusiasts, and they're actually really glass houses and all that.
Yeah, I saw somebody post a thing on one of the 40k groups the other day, and it was basically a post from one of the what's the Xbox, the first person shooter? Halo. It was a Halo sort of post from the Halo group or something, but it was taking the piss out of 40k players, saying about Space Marines or taking the piss out of them. And then obviously what followed was a massive load of vitriol taking the piss out of Halo players, and like, you're all sad. Just forget it. You're all sad of similar levels. You can't sit there and say my Space Marine friend can beat up your Space Marine friend. It's just sad. People are literally like, oh, there's no way Space Marine would be able to take down Chief Master, whatever the fuck his name is. Like, dude, it's all made up. It can literally be whatever you like it to be. So
I don't get I'm not going to get into this now, but the hate on Tau players. What's that about? I don't get that either.
I think it's just they were really good there for a while. Tau were really good.
It's a game. It's a game. Just enjoy it. Play what you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody said, do you think Kill Team will get a second edition? I think yes.
I thought it already did. I thought they released a thing about it.
Yeah, that is true. It has already had a second. The last one was a second edition, wasn't it? But they teased a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, like that Necron thing.
Yeah, they so I reckon there will be a second edition, because they love a box set. Chuck some more terrain in it, or even the same terrain a little bit more, like they have with the second. It's not quite a second edition of Warcry, is it? But it's a new edition of Warcry. Yeah. And that basically is the old one with some extra doorways.
It's a bit like they've released a new version of Warcry, haven't they? They've done away with one of like the most unique things about Warcry, which was the scenario cards and all that kind of stuff. So they got rid of like one of the unique things of Warcry, and they just brought out another set, but it's underground. Like, okay.
Has it not got the scenario cards?
I'm fairly certain. Someone can correct me in the comments in a moment. You can always rely on people telling you you're wrong on the internet if you're wrong. So tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty certain they got rid of all of those cards because it's in a dungeon complex. All the walls and stuff are already set, so there's only so much you can do with scenery.
Okay.
But
there must be like objectives and things to do, even if the setup's not quite the same.
There must be something
the scenery. The scenery is largely the same, isn't it? Somebody broke it down on a Facebook page. I saw things that were actually new in it, and there wasn't actually very much.
All right. The models look really nice. The warbands look really nice.
Yeah, the warbands do look nice. Warcry Catacombs have been poorly received. Yeah, I mean, I was one of those things. I kind of thought, in a different world, I'll get that. But as we've got no chance of ever playing it, I haven't looked into it at all.
I mean, we still have the original Warcry if we were going to. We've still got multiple warbands we could use from that. But it's finding the time with everything else we got, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think I enjoyed it enough to want to get into it. Well, I'm really enjoying the Necromunda, so enjoying that. And then there's kind of other games coming up. So Bard Song, I know I talked about that last week, but we haven't hammered out the details yet. But we are going to get to play a preview game of that with the designer on Tabletopia. Well, hopefully we are anyway. But I don't know whether it'll be videoed or what. I haven't hammered out the details. But we will definitely be able to report on it before Kickstarter, which starts on the 10th.
The Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, yes. Get a pair of trousers. I'm looking forward to that. Doing that. And then there was another game announced today by the guy who designed Blitzball. They're kind of doing a sports kind of football type game, but it's not miniature dependent. You can kind of use whatever minis you like.
Yeah, well, they're going to release models at some point, but they're making it originally so that you can do whatever you like to start with.
It's going to have standees, isn't it? So you get loads of teams, or several teams, because it's going to have standees in it. But then you can substitute in your own whatever you've got, Blood Bowl or other systems.
Yeah.
Or other systems they might. Yeah. But sorry.
Guild Bowl or.
Well, I don't know, because Guild. Maybe it'll work. Yeah. But it looked quite interesting anyway. So we'll be following that. I think it's very, very early days. So we'll be looking at following that with some interest, and see how we get on. Blitzball is amazing. Oh yeah, we need to try and get a hold of volume 2 or version
Season
2. But it's not very easy to season 2. Yes, not very easy to get hold of over here.
Yeah, we need to find a US counterpart, our Patreon US supporter, I think, to maybe send us a few copies that we can pay them for.
Yeah, Myth and Goal. Oh, Alex is off. He is getting towards
It's like 1 in the morning.
So yeah, cheers, Alex. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in and giving us the voice from Russia over there, so we can say that we did have people in Russia watching.
Going to say train tangent as well for 5 minutes. That's what everybody was thrilled about.
Yep. It's weird because Blitzball, it just seems like everybody wants it all around the world, and they've done this stupid Barnes and Noble only sort of thing. It's just a pain in the backside, and Barnes and Noble only let you buy 2 copies. Per order.
The whole thing is like nuts. Can we get? It's like you've got people across the globe, like you just said, who want to buy it, and it's like, well, okay, you can buy it, but you can only buy it, ship it in from America. Oh, we'll do that then. We'll get loads of because there's 10 of us who want it. We'll get 10 copies. Oh no, you can't have 10 copies. You can only have 2.
Yeah.
Now I know people do gouge and buy loads of copies and then sell them online and that kind of stuff, but it is a bit of a pain in the bum.
VJ says that he's spoken to James about Myth and Goal, and he's hoping to playtest.
Oh,
cool.
Exciting stuff. Well, VJ, if you want to put a word in, I'm not going to play test, but if you want to put a word in for us for, reviewing and then playing some games after the fact, then please do. Please do.
Is there a... Does he have a Discord?
Very good question, John Grant. Are the German copies in German?
Oh, what, for Blitzball? Don't know.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe we should order it from Germany, but I thought, well, it's no good if it's in German.
True.
Well, I say it's no good, but it would be harder if it was in German.
It would be trickier. Jason says no one would buy Blood Bowl if there was a quicker, more enjoyable alternative. Well, that's a good point. I mean, it would possibly cut into that a little bit, although I would buy a lot more Blood Bowl teams if I could get hold of Blitzball.
I think it would they'd feed off each other. I would have thought. I could be wrong.
So. I think there'd be some people who would... Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd sell more teams, and then people would think, well, okay, I could try Blood Bowl.
Yeah, I've got the models.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound like they didn't expect people in the hobby to like Blitzball or Blitzball. Is it Blitzball or Blitzball? Blitzball, sorry. I think that they thought this would be a game that the regular Blood Bowl players wouldn't actually enjoy, and actually, people love it because it's much quicker and easier to play. It's still got that Blood Bowl sort of fix. Because I think 90% of it is having the models and thinking of playing some kind of fancy sports game. It's like most of the...
Jack said a couple of times just order it from America. Well, we can do, but it's just annoying because you have to pay duty, customs duty, which is fine. But there's always a handling fee, which is less fine for me because like the duty's normally about £2 and the handling fee is 15.
Yeah. And
then £17. You're almost adding half as much onto the price of the game.
And you can only buy 2.
And we thought, well, maybe we'll get, because quite a lot of people are interested, we'll get a load of copies and then share the cost of the handling fee effectively and the postage. Obviously, there's postage as well. And then it'll be a cost-effective way of doing it, but they say they'll only send 2 at once. So
yeah, I've obviously emailed them to Barnes and Noble and said, do you know who I am? So we'll see what they respond with, but I suspect their response will be, who gives a shit? Oh, you're going to buy 10 copies. Oh, we need to make such a lot of effort to sell you 10 copies. Get fucked. We sold 50,000 yesterday without even trying. This is kind of what I'm expecting.
There are only 2 of us, Jack. That is very true. But we were trying to do kind of community thing. But yes, we could. I was just trying to avoid... I thought it was just annoying having to pay custom duty and what have you. But anyway, and it's funny how difficult it is to get copies of it. When you think as a business, either business, they want to sell as many as possible.
Yeah. And I guess they are trying to avoid some of the gouging, but yeah. Into the Glory Hole said they thought it was self-contained. It is. You get about 13 teams worth of the different cards in the box. So all you then need to do is buy the relevant team you want. Barnes & Noble even started stocking the half-team boxes. So exactly the models you would need for a game of Blitzball, because Blood Bowl teams are just 2 of the same sprue.
And can you buy those over here, the half-team boxes?
You can't buy the half-team boxes over here, but what you can do is it's probably just as cost-effective to buy a regular team over here and then sell half of it to someone else or trade half with them. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Jack says it cost him about £50, including shipping and taxes. Yeah, because they're about $50, I think.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a bit more than that. I think, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, postage.
By the by. Yeah, so I'm interested by Myth and Goal. It does sound intriguing, and maybe VJ we could bring that to the channel.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to look for more options, because I think one thing that would help grow the channel in general would be having more stuff on the channel. And that's not to say we don't want to stop doing Underworlds. Obviously, Underworlds was where we started, and we definitely want to keep that content there. But if we can introduce some other stuff, like we've got Necromunda, I think one of our patrons came back to us purely because we said we were going to start doing Necromunda. And then so they must be really disappointed at the minute. And then there's Blitzball, obviously Underworlds Online, if we can get that in. There's Marvel Champions. So it's just trying to get more content mixed up, and we're trying to make the garage as seamless setup wise as we can as well, so that we can do it with minimal amount of juggling of props and scenery and stuff like that. Because if the layout needs a different setup, we only have a couple of hours once a week to do that, so we're trying to get that as good as we can.
So we do have Blitzball coming this week on YouTube, and then a double header Marvel Champions the following week, and then we'll be back to Necromunda, and then this week in the garage we're recording some what's that game called? Warhammer Underworlds.
That's the one. It's going to be a bash of the big boys.
Yeah, we're going to play Mollog. I think Jason, you asked for. We're going to play Mollog versus Hrothgorn.
Yeah, battle of the big boys.
Better remember to put a deck together.
Yes, need to try and work out something. I'm not saying who's playing who as yet, although you'll probably see on the Discord in the next week or so when one of us starts posting up. Has anybody got a Mollog deck they want to share? John says City of Zombies. I'm not sure people are going to find that interesting. Maybe not so much.
No, it's a good game, but it's probably not what we're looking for. Did you add those corrections
to the description box? What corrections? I'm lost now.
I'm confused.
The magic balls at Celtic are fun. Yes, the other balls that they've added look brilliant. I really like the look of those, because it finally means that there's a reason to have all the different balls rather than just one. So I've deliberately started painting up the different balls from the box, so we've got one of each type, just so that we've got them all to hand, so that when we randomly pick one out, we'll have the right ball there.
I know Beef is playing Mollog in his next Vassal Tournament.
Ooh, we might have to see how you get on with that then.
Yeah.
So the Vassal Tournaments as well are another great place where there are absolutely tons of people from all over the world being able to get together. And Vassal has the same issue in that there's no direct way to talk to the other person, because it's just a little platform to help play, just a very basic top-down digitised sort of icon-based version of the game. But generally when you're playing Vassal, you're playing via Discord, so you can then communicate with the person on there. And I wonder if I think a lot more people are starting to go that way with Underworlds Online as well. They're starting to, it's usually after the game, but people normally go on there. You see a lot of comments of people going on there saying good game and atting the person they were playing and stuff like that, because quite a lot of people have the same name as they do on there. And I had that the other day. I played against somebody and I think I'd wiped them out by the end of the second round, and they stuck through the entire third round. And I played it through as quick as I could because I didn't really have anything I needed to score, but they played it through all the way to the end, and it was like 20-5 or something by the end of it. So I went onto the Discord afterwards just to at them and say, thank you for hanging around for that one. You had some horrible dice and you stuck with it throughout, and that was really nice. And they were like, yeah, it's fine, no problem. So it's nice just to have that human context, so that even when you do have a crap game and you hang about, having someone just say at the end of it, cheers for that, doesn't make it as bad. No,
I agree. Not that I played, but I agree. But the Vassal seems to be quite like an international event. People from all over the world play that, and you get the top players playing in there as well, in some of those Vassal tournaments.
Yeah, definitely.
I think some really good players, which is why we don't join
in. Pretty much, because we just get pasted. Absolutely annihilated. Underworlds Online should get an iOS and Android release, maybe reduce graphics. I mean, we were saying that kind of thing way back when it first came out at the beginning of the year, and I just think, I know why they haven't, because there's only like 10 of them working there, so they can't spare the time to do that. But they definitely need to introduce something. I mean, they added the the GeForce Now thing, so I play it more on my Mac now than I play it on my PC.
Okay.
Just because I can do it whilst the Mac's sitting there, it's much easier than having to hook the PC up. But yeah, having that kind of thing and having other ways to play it on different platforms would be nice. But I still think they need to get that social interaction there, because that's what everybody. Well, I say that's what everybody wants, but I know at the same time sometimes I go online to play a quick game and I just don't want to be interactive at all. But being able to type chat at least would be nice.
Yeah.
Even not necessarily even having to talk to the other person, but being able to just type some messages back and forth would be great.
We've seen Rally has come in, so hello and welcome to our semi-international day. We've talked about where people are from. Where are you coming in from, Seam Rally? Are you Italian? I can't remember. You've been in before, but my memory's terrible. Always good to see. Always good to see you.
My memory's terrible, as is my geography. It's just wonderful.
I saw the theory that mini wargaming leaves their mistakes in, so people comment somewhere recently. I can't remember where I saw that.
Could be. I mean, I figured the mistakes that were made in it that VJ has pointed out, they weren't game destroying. I mean, you could argue maybe the person who won the game wouldn't have won the game had they not made those mistakes, but it was too much to tell, really. It would still have been in the balance, so I didn't mind leaving them in, and I figured some people would point them out, and then maybe that'll get a bit of discussion going, because it's always nice to have some chat on the videos. I think last week's video that we put out just went live, about 2 people commented, and that was it. It did, for us, it did fairly well. We got about 600-700 views on it, but there was no interaction there, so it was a bit.
He's from Hamburg. Told you he was Italian.
There you go.
He's in Hamburg. Hamburg, Florence.
I like Jack's comment. My memory's terrible, and so is my memory.
VJ said it on Discord the other day.
There we go. That'd be it.
Okay. I knew it was a wise man who said it. I just couldn't remember who.
A wise, good-looking, sexy man who would definitely support the right kind of people on Patreon.
Definitely.
Jack says they pass you around like currency there. Oh, you tease.
In the Vassal, or in Germany.
Yeah.
Hamburg's got that reputation, I think.
No Beef says that if it wasn't for Vassal, he thinks he'd shelve Underworlds. He thinks he would have shelved Underworlds, not being able to play it.
That's right.
No Beef just said just about.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
And I think a lot of people who
Yeah.
aren't able to get to clubs and stuff like that at the minute, I think they definitely would have struggled. I wonder if that's why Underworlds is struggling a bit more in general, because GW haven't done any support for it whatsoever since lockdown started, which I think is a bit poor on their part, to be honest.
They slap you on like cologne. Very good. VJ's making some extra YouTube accounts to boost the Blitzball account. That's excellent. I it's a funny one. I guess that they because they've always been a physical. Games Workshop have always been a physical game type people, haven't they? You know what I mean? They've always kind of. I've always thought they could do more with digital elements of their games. I mean, they're even. I know they've got an app now for 40,000, but really they've been very slow on making accessible digital content to back their games up. And you just feel like Underworlds would have been perfect for it. It's not that hard, I don't think. And obviously it can be done through Vassal. They could have made a really nice wrapper to play people to play their game across the world. And they could have held tournaments if they wanted to. I guess it would have been a bit of a change in direction. They could have done it, but they haven't done very much. They don't even keep the website up to date. Do they? Their own stuff. So their own deck builder is it still got cards?
No, that's gone now. Their own deck builder's been shut down. That doesn't even run anymore. It's not even there.
So,
and they don't have their...
To a point, there is no point in having a deck builder if you've got 2 excellent ones out there, or at least 2 excellent ones out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's a bit like when AOS came out. Somebody went and built a online army builder, and I remember using it back in the early days when we were building AOS armies, and they came along. They said, "Hey, we're going to use their tool that they've done, and we're going to build on that rather than, we're going to bring that in house, and we're going to do it that way." And then they released something that was completely different. And I don't know why they haven't with Underworlds DB or anything like that. Just gone, you know what, that does everything. Wicked. We'll just bring that in house and get them to keep working on it and do it that way would just be so much better, because it is so much better than anything GW have done on the digital side of things.
Yeah. I mean, possibly Jason wouldn't want to pour it, and a guy who does deckers might not want to bring it in house. But I don't know. It just says they bought out Arena Mortis, but they have done very little. Well, I guess there's a limited amount they can do. So it's a tough situation for everybody. They're trying to feel their way through it.
It kind of is. You kind of feel like, as it's their game though, they should really do some. They should be trying harder, and the community seems to be doing all the work. I mean, Valentin has been running the straight hour shades.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, at the very least, they could give some. I imagine you said one of the nice things is they haven't got prizes, but you think they could at least. Yeah, I think he got a shout out, didn't he, in the one of the podcast things?
No, that was the one that John's doing.
That was it.
His invite only Grandmasters 2020 bullshit.
Okay.
Fuck that. I want to hear about the one that the guy's running that's open to everybody. I don't give a shit about some tournament that has 6 people in that all got a special invite because they were super great. I want to hear about the guy who's trying to get the whole fucking community going. Not this bullshit that's fucking invite only nonsense. That fucked me right off. That really pissed me off. I mean,
oh no, he's off.
He wants to have a little, mates only club. That's fine. I haven't got a problem with that.
Do your square breathing.
I don't have a problem with that. If he wants to do his friends only, invite only, this is the no peak club, whatever, absolutely fine with that. But GW should be supporting people like Valentin who are doing month after month tournaments that are open to everyone, that try to get the whole community together. That's what they should be supporting. And frankly, for them to only put a shout out to something that hasn't even happened, just crap in my view. GW dropped the ball big time on that one, and it's shit. Frankly.
Okay, that's tonight's unpopular opinion.
Now I'm going to drop the microphone.
I'm a little bit more forgiving. I think they were probably hoping that, I think naively hoping that physical games would open up after when things got better in the summer. I think they were hoping things would open up, and of course it's gone the other way.
I don't think they had anything in place. I don't think they really thought about it at all.
I think more than that.
Oh God! Everyone, put masks on. Like I say, I've got nothing against the people running those events. I'm more pissed off with. Just in Jack's comment, yeah, I was quoting that. I'm more pissed off with GW that they have done nothing to support people like Valentin, who have really put all the effort on his own in just to run those kind of things.
Yeah.
And that's what's really annoyed me. Have all the, we've got our own invite-only club, the Patreon. You have to support us to get in there. So I'm certainly not saying we're any better than anybody else, but Valentin should be getting the support from GW, and they've done nothing really on that front to really bring the community together at all.
Yeah.
And that's annoyed me.
So it seems. I'm going to have to go and get a drink of water, so if you could just go and rant a little bit longer.
So, right. And another thing. Buses. Fucking buses. No, sorry. It does feel like they want to... it does feel a little bit like they want to let them die. They release these things. They go my child, go out into the wilds, and then... there we go. Fuck that one up. They just seem to want to let it die. And they did it kind of with Blood Bowl back in the late 90s or whatever, early 2000s. They released it, and then they were like... yeah, anyway, we're going to go over here now and do something else. And then they came back 18 years like that. Holy fuck, people still play this shit. We should probably release another version and make some money off that. Community, there's one of those too. Brilliant, more people to sell it to. Wicked! But that was it. And Craig Sargent is probably right. It's a niche game with a small market, so it's probably not worth their effort. But how much effort would it be to just post a thing up every now and then on their community's page? Would it be much? Would it take a lot? I don't know. I think that there's a big enough community out there for things like this that they could make a small exception there. I think GW should actually bring back their specialist games division that Jervis Johnson used to run. Is it Jervis Johnson, I think, used to run the specialist games division? There used to be Blood Bowl and Battlefleet Gothic and all that kind of stuff. They had a whole department and team just churning out rules and stuff for that, and now that doesn't seem... they just sort of create a thing, go, I don't know, what is it? Fuck it, throw it out, there we go, next thing. Right, something else. It's sort of like the last thing, but slightly different. Check that one out too. and then they don't really do anything with it. It annoys me.
Yeah.
There we go. Is your cough gone, Robin? Do we need to get you a test?
So. I think so. I think it's just a wee tickle.
A wee tickle in my throat.
Yeah.
Lazarus says that my opinion earlier was a popular opinion, not an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it is a comparatively small. Craig's absolutely right, and they probably do make more money on Space Marines in a few weeks. But I don't know.
I can't remember. I think the fact somebody told me one that a friend of mine used to work at GW said that once their top 3 products they used to sell was Black Spray, the Space Marine Tactical Marine box set, and Super Glue were like their 3 biggest grossing lines, and that's sort of, So we should be lucky that GW shops aren't half filled with just black spray paint, I guess.
Who uses black?
Ah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, these days.
I flip flop on spray.
You shouldn't do that. It'll get on your clothes.
I'm in a grey phase at the moment. I've gone black, and I remember changing to black and then going back to white and then finding it just horrible. I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking.
Once you go, no, I can't even say it. I can't say that one. I'm not saying it. Once you go grey, it's better
now
that way.
Now I use standard grey.
I still use
I'm leaving it there.
I still mostly use the because I'm really lazy and I mostly just paint with contrast. I nearly always use the not the warp seer one, the other one, the Wraithbone one. That's nearly everything I use these days is Wraithbone.
Yeah, Red Sven has said it's not GW priority. No, that's true. Short timelines and all mini-driven rules that are already concerned with being good enough. There's probably some truth in that.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I can't be outraged by it. Outraged. Your drink looks fantastic, Robin.
It used to be that Space Marines were the only profitable line, and they supported development of everything else.
That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if things like Space Marines, which make up like 50% of the army choices in 40k, is probably funding most of the other stuff they did. I mean, they had to get rid of Fantasy Battle, right? That's why AOS happened, because Warhammer wasn't making any money at all. So I guess we should be grateful they create these things in the first place, at least.
Oh, and Craig Sargent's got an even more shocking and unpopular opinion than mine. You don't have to scrape mould lines off, which is that you don't have to undercoat or prime. That's a complete waste of time. Even I'm not that nuts.
But he says he knows a couple of Golden Demon winning painters that do the same.
Really?
What's that? Don't undercoat them?
Wow.
We need information, Craig. Are you saying there are Golden Demon painters out there that don't undercoat their models? I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense. I guess when you put a base layer down, once you put a couple of base layers down, you work to a few layers on top of that.
I suppose, yeah. If you, if you're going to layer 15 million layers of paint on it, it matters less. I suppose it depends how much you're going to handle them as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, true. John Grant said he used to work at GW, and he used to be that Space Marines were the only profitable line, and they support development of everything else. So, there we go. Yeah. From the inside track.
When it likes my drink, it's just summer fruit squash, quite weak, with some cold water in it. It's nothing very exciting.
It's very, very boring. So, yeah, he says...
Stop doing that with that knife, please. Just put me off.
I can't imagine not undercoating a model with a spray or something, if, I can't...
David Soper is one of them. Wow. He's won a couple of Golden Demons, hasn't he?
Mm.
Wow, that is interesting.
Well, I guess when you're that good, you can probably afford to not follow some of the rules, I guess. I think for someone like myself, not doing something as basic as that would just make my models even shitter.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I just find that the paint doesn't go on so smoothly. But if you're doing lots of layers, perhaps it's okay. But
yeah, maybe.
Who knows? To be honest, it's not much effort to spray them.
Yeah, and at least when they're sprayed white, I find it picks out some of the detail more. Or when you spray it another colour.
And to be honest, for some hobbies, it's the only chance they get to go outside.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see, Muley says, knives, drinks and not undercoating models kind of YOLO here. It's a bit like that this afternoon. We've kind of completely gone off subject of international, but I
don't think we really need a unpopular opinion tonight, because an actual proper one. I might hang on to the vague one I thought of.
Corax White is the worst undercoat, says John.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
use the white.
I think I had a Corax White at one point and it was shite.
I don't use that. And then I moved to army painted white. and I don't quite know what happened, but the lid got stuck on it, and I pulled it off and managed to pull out the thing as well. So instead, I was just holding this thing with spray paint going out all over the place, trying to get the nozzle back on. And eventually, I
Brilliant.
did. It was great. That's one of my. It was like all at the garage door. Yeah, it was brilliant.
I think. I don't think I'd ever go back to a black undercoat again. That was just so much work because half of everything you wanted to then paint onto a black undercoat, like, right now I've got to repaint it with like a white undercoat or a grey or an off-white or something, just so I can then start painting the skin on or something. I hate and abhor having to repaint an area that I've already painted once. So I absolutely detest doing that. That's like my pet peeve. If I can get away with just putting one coat on an area, that's me done. I'm not going to bother with anything else.
Two thin coats.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Black primer, zenithal white ink, and translucent airbrush base coat is my go-to method. That's a different level,
Yeah.
isn't it? That's a different level.
I'm sort of here, and that's already up here somewhere for me.
I do occasionally do a zenithal white highlight. And I think, why did I bother doing that?
And then you paint over that area of the base coat and go, can't see a fucking thing.
Yeah, we've had this discussion on here before,
Yeah.
what it's useful for, and I still don't really get it. But I do occasionally do it in the vague hope that it might be useful, but I'm not sure.
Then by the time you finish, somebody like, looks like I just sprayed it white, or grey, or anything else.
Craig's other opinions, they should stop at season 4 of Underworlds and call it a day rather than drag it out and have a slow death. I think if they can't do in-person tournaments, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think
Makes
that
me
hopefully
sad.
next summer they'll be able to, and it will get exciting again and be good. That's what I'm hoping, because I do really like the game.
But it is a competitive game, so it does rely on that competitive element.
Yeah.
It's not like 40k or AOS or things like where it's naturally a 1v1 player game.
No.
And then you can have a campaign system or that kind of thing. But yeah, it's and I know that they do have tournaments around it, so I'm kind of completely arguing away my point. But I feel like Underworlds relies, like you say, on that tournament scene to make.
I think so, because it relies on a shifting meta and people getting excited about that meta and talking about it and changing it and people playing as much as possible. I think in a way that the other games don't. I think John liked my idea of 40k Underworlds. Yeah, that'd be pretty good actually. Wondermunder also. Yeah. I think maybe that would make me happy. I think if they not canned but paused Warhammer Underworlds for a while and did a 40k equivalent. I think that'd be quite cool. Quite cool. I just realised behind me I've got some flowers that stays. Yeah.
Langry says it's shockingly easy and he lacks any artistic skill, but it's good in assembly line batch painting. I would say it might be shockingly easy for you, but it still requires already a serious amount of equipment extra for a lot of that stuff, which already puts it way beyond our
VJ's Blitzball team.
Wow. Excellent. Wood Elf Blitzball team just arrived. See, another thing I like about Underworlds, and that I like about Blitzball, and that I like about Necromunda, is I don't sit there and think, you know what, I want to paint 300 of something. There's none of that.
Yeah, that is very true.
And I don't look at it and immediately go, oh, I've just bought a 1,000-point army, which is kind of like a minimum for a decent sort of game, and now I've got to spend 6 years painting them. It's not going to happen. Whereas Underworlds or Necromunda or things like that, I've got maybe 12 models that I've got to paint. That's much more doable.
Yeah, John says it would have to be more shooty though. I don't know that it would. I mean, because you can just—it's all relative scale, isn't it? So I think it would be okay. I don't think it would have to. I did think that, but I thought actually you could just have like short range weapons and close combat weapons, range 1, and slightly longer ones 2 and 3 hexes. So the mechanics could be the same.
Yeah, and maybe you'd have more.
Could go to 4.
Maybe.
But, I think it could work.
I like Jack's comment. If I want to paint 300 something, I'd spray some fucking rice. Yeah, pretty much exactly that. And 40k Underworlds, you can make it more pistol based, and it could be like enclosed in like a bit like Space Hulk. So people won't be running around with las cannons and rocket launchers and heavy bolters. It would all be chainsaws and bolt pistols and stuff like that.
BJ's Blitzball team, Wood Elves have arrived. It's very exciting. Quite like the Wood Elves.
They do look quite nice.
We're definitely moving towards small model games into the glory hole. I was just saying that in the last 2 years. I mean, that's just time factor. Yeah. So I mean, I have got Crisis Protocol still there. I say it every week. It's still there.
Literally in the same spot.
I'm going to try now when the kids go back. I'm going to try and get that to the painting table. Maybe the new year we'll play that.
Yeah.
Maybe in June next year we'll play that.
But don't hold your breath. The problem with that, the only problem I've got with Crisis Protocol is the sudden scale change. So you've got to buy a whole new load of scenery to be able to play it. And that kind of does
I've read a couple of things about it. I don't think it's as bad as you. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think.
Maybe not.
So we'll never get to the table. It's a moot point.
I guess in general, if I was just buying it to play on my own, I possibly wouldn't even bother with the terrain. It would all be egg cartons, Pringle tubes, and shoe boxes. But obviously, because if we want to put it on the channel, we'd have to have something that looked better. So that's true.
I don't live that far from Zarastro, so I'm just going to go to his house and steal his scenery.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
because his setup is awesome. He may notice when we start making videos, though, I suppose.
No, because he'll never watch them. It'll only be the people on Patreon watching it and a few people on YouTube.
Other people might point out. So we'll. I mean, I'd love to play. I'd love to have a really good scenery setup. It's never going to happen. So anyway, moving on.
Well, it's one of those things, isn't it? Because, like Into Glory Hell said, that it's all going towards smaller games. So Warcry, Necromunda. I'm not sure what AINAT is. Underworlds or Underworlds. What's AINAT? Oh, Aeronautica Imperialis and something else. Oh, Adeptus Titanicus.
Okay.
Yeah, all those require less scenery, so you can kind of fit most of the scenery you need for those games in a shoebox. So
Langvardiger's profile is off.
Thank you for coming. It was
awesome to enjoy it because we've been talking utter nonsense. So I'm glad you've enjoyed the discussion.
Yes, and do come along next week, please. Bye. So I think you could theoretically with only a little bit of storage, you could have all those kind of things. You wouldn't need that much space for terrain. Not like back when you were playing 40k and AOS, where you have massive bits of. I mean, we've still got our scenery, like this stuff. This is still sitting on my shelf, and I don't really need it. We should probably sell this actually.
Sorry?
We should probably sell it.
We might use it one day. I don't know what for.
That is the problem,
isn't it?
You can
always bring it to the garage, stick it on the shelf for the rest of it.
Good, I think that shelf might fall off the wall.
Marvelous Crisis Protocol comes with the scenery you need in the starter box. Yeah, it does come with a bit of scenery, and they do extra packs. But also, I think it's standard OO gauge, isn't it? Model railway gauge, so we could buy some buildings.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not so bad then.
Exactly. No, I think it's pretty good. Aeronautica. So who's played Aeronautica? Anybody? Put their hands up. Oh, no, that won't work. But
give us a high five emoji in the chat, or give us a yes.
Yeah, because we were discussing it the other day, and I remember thinking it looked like it sucked when it came out, but I haven't really read much more into it. And I think Pete's more keen than I am to play, but it is something we could add because I do like the models. There's just something nice about the planes, isn't there?
They do look nice.
Planes and trains.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. Well, we need those for the Crisis Protocol, so we've got all three. And they're really small. They're quite easy to paint. You could literally spray them, paint them one coat and give them a wash, or use a contrast paint maybe, and you've already got kind of like 90% of the model done. So, Rosa's played it. Let us know.
Played it. Rosa, is it any good? I'm afraid I probably won't take you as a perfect sample, but is it any good?
I watched the game. I watched a game that Guerrilla Games played. Ash played. The problem with his games I find is they're a bit all over the place with the camera, and that kind of puts me off a little bit. And I also tried to watch the Becca Scott How to Play thing, and that pissed me off. So that kind of really turned me off from the game with her overly enthusiastic, smiley, hi kind of approach to it. Like, I don't need that shit. I just want... And it was like 40 minutes long, the explanation video on how to play it. Like, no, if it's going to take you longer than a game to actually explain the game, I'm not sure I'm interested.
Aeronautica holds no interest for Jason. John Glass says he looks great. And Dan Pinkley's imagining Marvel superheroes fighting out in British railway stations. It's absolutely brilliant. It's sort of late 50s era, Dr. Beeching closed down station era with like, I don't know, Vision and Spider-Man.
The Hulk. The train arriving on platform 5 has been annihilated.
When they go in one of the films, they do go to Edinburgh Station, don't they? And have a Vision and the Scarlet Witch have a fight, I think, with Thanos' dudes. I'm sure that's Edinburgh Station.
I like in the very first X-Men film, there's a bit in a train station, but that's all I can remember.
I'm sure it's in, it might be an Endgame.
Josh De Silva 3D says Aeronautica's fun, but sadly overshadowed by X-Wing. And X-Wing for me represents some of the best and worst of games. Because it's like that whole, you buy 6 boxes or something for nothing other than a card that's in the box, which is not something we do, but that kind of turns me off on that kind of idea.
Yeah, I don't think we'd ever play.
Oh, Jack!
Oh, Jack! Ow!
Jack!
Ow! That's worse than Rosersburn last week, actually.
That hurts.
It's not as bad as Rosersburn last week.
Rosersburn. I'm still having to put cream on Rosersburn from last week. Rosersburn was brutal. That was 3rd degree. That stuff.
Yeah, that's still smarting now.
Craig says we need a miserable bastard British tutorial. So we do need something like that. Only the kind of thing that we could do. The other thing that kind of puts me off a bit of Aeronautica is anyone going to give a shit if we actually did the videos? And that is something we do have to... Was in the middle of a FIFA game. Is it the latest version? Can you tell? Do you sometimes accidentally find you're playing 2010 instead?
Yeah, Roger, you're not selling it to me there. So yes, Infinity War, that's it. When I said Endgame, I suddenly thought it can't be Endgame because Vision isn't around in that one, is he? So yeah, must have been Infinity War.
Anonymous Jeff has pointed out that he has bought Underworlds warbands just for cards, and that is a good point. I'll accept that one. And
we obviously use everything. Batman miniatures game, I would love to play because I'm a bit of a Batman fanboy, but it's too much. And if that's the Night Models one, I can't be bothered.
And almost just says he wanted a flying game to be with tiny models on a massive table. It's like Flies in 40k, just wrong. Is that a plus for Aeronautica or a minus? I'm not sure.
Roger was playing Sensible Soccer on the Amiga. Now, there are very few soccer games better than Sensible Soccer on the Amiga.
There are no games better than Sensible Soccer on the Amiga. That's the only football game I've ever played.
Oh, Speedball 2 on the Atari ST. That was my game of choice.
It's not quite football though, is it? It's not cricket.
Sorry?
It's not quite football though, is it? It's sort of football, but...
No, it was... I mean, Sensible Soccer was good. It was good, but Speedball 2 is my poison at that age.
Rosa has pointed out you pick your hidden manoeuvres and you do it before each plane, before any planes move, so it's less skill-based. I mean, you could argue that there's some skill in being able to second-guess what your opponent's going to be doing next.
I quite like that, actually, that kind of hidden movement. It works for X-Wing, and a few games like that.
And it's kind of real, planes are whipping through the sky all over the place. You can't just think, I'm just going to wait to see if he turns left or right, and now I'm going to...
Speedball 2 is glorious. Yeah, I don't know which I enjoyed more. Chucky Egg. Oh,
Chucky Egg.
That was about the first computer game I ever got. Chucky Egg.
We need to do like a whole evening of just 80s video games, just because
Ice cream. Yeah, see, ice cream was in the Amiga version. It wasn't on the Atari ST version. Anyway, that's beside the point. Gotham City Chronicles miniatures are cross-compatible with the Batman minis game. I hadn't thought about that. I've got the Gotham City Chronicles. I hadn't thought about them being cross-compatible.
I don't know what that is. What's that? Gotham City Chronicles?
It was a big monolith game. I've got the box. One of those ones. I love those miniatures. They're amazing. So I bought the game and it sat on the shelf since it arrived. So there you go.
Craig Sargent,
what is this football I keep hearing about? It depends where you come from. 2 agents, 1 game.
Now that's a video that's not going to make the same stir that the original one it was named after made. Yeah, I think overall in general, I like games like Underworlds and Warcry and Necromunda for the smaller form factor of them. You don't need massive sprawling areas to play on. Necromunda's probably the biggest game we've got at the minute because that needs a 3x3. It's probably about the biggest you're going to have for the board. And I'm not sure what Aeronautica is. I can't remember what that one was. But I don't think it's 4x4. Can't remember exactly though. If it was, we'd be in trouble because I'm not sure we can fit a 4x4 on.
Apparently the rule book is rubbish for Gotham City Chronicles, so that's us out. I need easy to understand rules. Would we ever consider doing full AOS games again? Probably not.
Probably not. It takes so long.
Yeah, and we don't have the knowledge, I think, to compete with the big boys or even the small boys in that game, in that genre on YouTube. We need to be better at it. So we'd have to put so many hours work in.
Yeah, I mean, it takes us over an hour to shoot a game of Underworlds, which then cuts down to anywhere between 35 to 55-ish sort of minutes. So when you think that an AOS game would normally take you a couple of hours, we're looking at probably 3 or 4 hours to play a game. I mean, even Necromunda takes us around 2 hours to play a game. So something like 40k or AOS is just so far beyond our ability. And like you say, Robin, we don't have the means to be able to compete with any of the bigger boys out there. I mean, we're pretty much the biggest providers of Underworlds online, and even we don't do that good with that. So we'd stand no chance with AOS or 40k. It's very nice to hear that you would you'd like to see that kind of content, that you would enjoy seeing that kind of thing. It's very nice to hear, but I'm not sure we could ever produce it.
I don't think he actually said it would be nice.
Well, that's true.
I think he just observed.
I think he means he needs to, if we are, can we let him know so he can avoid the internet for a little while? See, Muley says that Blitzball Season 2 got fine-tuned. He loves it more and more. It's good to hear.
I'll definitely want to get it, I think, and play it.
Lazarus says, Underworlds is like my sex life, quick and fun. Well, coincidentally, Underworlds is like my sex life, over fast and disappointing.
Oh, really? It's like mine. It doesn't happen very often at the moment.
We talk about it's weekly. It's weekly. What are you talking about? Never had it so good. Morph says, we've heard Robin's thoughts on Blitzball and what did we think of Marvel's Champignons. I quite liked Champignons. It was good. There was definitely that feeling that you had that constant build up. It wasn't just you get stuck in the doldrums of the game. There was always that sense of urgency that you had to get stuff done, but it was never like you found yourself suddenly at a point where you're like, well, we're buggered. I mean, it's based off of one game, obviously, but it did feel like there was always something to do and things to get on with, and it all sort of ramped up at the same time. And I think you've said in the other games you played, Robin, in the games you've videoed and put on the channel, you're always like one step away from doom, and you think if that had to go on another round, the bad guys probably would have won, and that's very cinematic. That's very much like...
I haven't played against Doom yet, but yeah.
Doom.
It was just that. I mean, I really enjoy it. I think it's really fun, and you enjoyed it too. So I think you will see more games on that. Again, it's one of those things. It's although the game is quite simple, it's finding the time to learn how to advance our quality of our games, so to be able to deck build and fight a more complicated villains, and not just play straight out of the box, which I think will get more people interested. It's finding the time to do that, as well as everything else going on.
Because like with Underworlds, it's that thing that a big part of it is building the deck, and I think that's possibly where, because we're not massive fans of it ourselves, especially as this season's gone on, we've definitely struggled with the deck building aspect of it, and I think that's a big key part of the communities, that communities want to see, what are the best decks, what are the best ways to play it, what are the winning
Marvel Champ is
formulas.
interesting because you seem to have, following the forums, you seem to have two categories of people. There are those who want the most efficient, best decks, and there are other people who are kind of, because it's a co-op or even a solo game, It's kind of like, what is a thematically interesting way to play that's really tough. So you get the people who are trying to put interesting enemy decks together, different combinations, and then also people who say, well, just try playing with, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but just play with X type of cards, or play this hero with this aspect that they don't particularly work very well with, and see whether you can win it. So there's actually another dimension to the deck building. Actually, not building a good deck, but actually building a slightly crapper deck to see whether you can still win. But we're not really there yet.
Yeah, I guess you've got that reward as well, that if you decide to play with a hero with an aspect that they're not good with or whatever, you're effectively sort of making it more difficult for yourself. You're giving yourself an extra challenge that you can feel good about. Whereas with Underworlds, if you purposefully hamstring yourself with a deck, what you're going to get is smacked around a lot in competitive scenes. And why would you do that to yourself? It's like, oh, I managed to lose another game. Awesome. Brilliant. Great fun.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably getting towards the end of tonight's stream.
I think so, yeah.
Do want to put a quick reminder out there to all of our Patreon viewers who are watching this now or when they pick it up later on to watch. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to enter our October competition. Obviously, every month on Patreon, we have a little competition for our Patreon followers. And this month's prize is 25 English pounds worth of GW vouchers. So you do need to get your entries in on Discord. Go check it out. There's a whole thread for it, and then get your competition entries in there. And if you're interested in that and you're not on Patreon, do check out our Patreon. It's open to every level.
If you join at the $2 level, you can still enter, so you can win your money back almost immediately.
Yeah, pretty much. John Grant says maybe the patrons should build our decks during the week. Anybody who has a deck who's a Patreon member who says, I've got this deck here, I think it's awesome, you should play it, do let us know, because we'll almost definitely consider it.
Yeah, people do. We will certainly take suggestions at least.
We've definitely rocked several Marlowe decks and a few others, so always keen for those kind of things, because generally you guys have more time to think about these decks than we do, so generally they're better than the stuff we build.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. People seem to be enjoying the Marvel content. That's really good to know, because it's a bit of a, it's definitely a niche thread. It doesn't get that many views when it goes to live to YouTube. It's good to know people are enjoying it. I know Andrew loves it, but it's good to know that VJ's enjoyed it and Enormous Jeff has enjoyed it as well. So I will keep going and keep persevering. So we've got a double header coming up, which I think actually they're going to always two-player always going to be better than one, just because you've got the two voices is better. But we will keep plugging away.
Yep.
And keep hopefully people keep enjoying it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key for us to try and get more people on, get everybody interested in the channel, is trying to cover more stuff. So keeping the Underworlds content up as much as we can, and trying to get in the Necromunda and Marvel, and what were the other things doing? Blitzball, maybe Aeronautica if we really decide to give it a bash or something. But yeah,
Jason knows how to play the Batman game, so maybe we can bring that out as well. That's getting everything painted to look good on the screen. That's the problem.
That's the kicker. We've been very fortunate with Underworlds that we've had some awesomely painted models by our various Patreon supporters, which has been fantastic.
By the way, if you are Patreon guys, if you are thinking of doing this deck, bear in mind that we're only using Beastgrave cards now, which obviously is 5. It's more like a poison deck, which is appearing in the chat, but don't stick a calculated risk or something like that, because we can't use it.
Yeah, we are sticking to Beastgrave meta only, mostly because we're lazy, but also we just want to see what the game's going to look like in a month's time.
I mean, there isn't going to be. I mean, I don't know timescale. Where are we now? We're now end of October, so we're playing next week. There aren't going to be that many games left before Chasm hits the shelves. If it's going to be December, it's going to be towards the beginning of December, isn't it? So we're looking at maybe 5 weeks.
I'd assume it'd be near the beginning, because they want to get the stuff in. So we're probably going to want to play another game of Blitzball, maybe another Marvel, maybe another Necromunda, a couple of weeks of Underworlds, and then we're going to be there.
Whoa! And then it'll be Christmas.
I've got a solid 2 weeks off over Christmas, so I'm looking to be able to get some proper painting time in during that.
You got 2 weeks off, have you?
Yes, from the Christmas week and the week between Christmas and New Year. Both weeks are off, so I anticipate I will get 0 painting done.
Just 0?
0. Yeah, about 0.
Yeah. You should come over here. I'll just say I'm going out. You come out. We'll go to the garage. We'll just record all day.
Not bad. Well, to be honest, I'm sure I could probably wangle at least one day where I could do that.
Oh,
Definitely earlier at least.
but certainly half a day. But yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, we could probably talk about that not on the live chat.
Yeah, I'm sure people don't really care about us just looking at our dials going, what about Tuesday? Can you do Tuesday? No, I can't do next Tuesday. What about
Do videos with low views damage your YouTube algorithm? There was a gamer ranting about it the other day. It might do. It might do, but as I don't understand the algorithm, I won't worry too much about it. I mean, it's entirely possible it might do, but you've got to have a. If you want to start something new, you've kind of got to start at the bottom unless you're huge.
I also feel that all of our view levels are so low anyway. I don't think we could have a lower video that would make a difference.
Sorry?
The views on all of our videos are so low anyway. I don't think having a video that only has...
But my Marvel Champions videos get about a tenth of the Underworld videos, if that.
Maybe, yeah. So we're looking at maybe 100 instead of 1,000. But in YouTube terms, 1,000 is nothing. They're like hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views, that kind of thing. They're like your 500s or your 1,000 views is like zero to them. It just it just doesn't even factor in the grand scheme of things, I think, as far as YouTube's concerned. So,
yeah, you're probably right. I'm just reading all the comments now. They're all coming thick and fast now. We want to go home.
Well, we are home. We want to turn it off. What's everyone saying? Card-based Cthulhu game.
Okay. Yeah, that looks interesting.
We're both just sitting and reading stuff now.
Lazarus is looking for a housemate to play games with. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd like the channel to be as varied as possible, Jeff. I think, and yeah, we're trying to find something else that other people will watch. I've got the Arkham horror card game, but I haven't managed to even play that yet myself. So the chances of getting that on the channel are even lower.
Yeah, and I think whilst there is value in the maintaining a bigger portfolio, to an extent, maybe I'm a little obsessed with trying to get the numbers up. It's always a little disappointing when we do a video and we get a couple of hundred likes, but you have to just keep telling yourself that's still a couple of hundred views that people have watched the video, and we don't very often get very many thumbs down. So, just got to make sure we're doing it for the right reasons, which is mostly for everyone to enjoy. And as long as our Patreons are enjoying it, that's the main thing.
Somebody here has probably got 1 to 2 million views. That goodness me. He was playing one game that yanked and nearly killed his channel due to the algorithm. Wow, tanked. Well, how funny. Well, that's the problem. That is the problem with that kind of stuff. That's why Patreon is really important to us, because that almost means we can play the games that you guys want without having to chase the ratings. Because that is part of it. Then, because they did. I mean, there was a big hoo-ha about it, wasn't there? Where they did change the algorithm, So I've read VJ's comment and it's completely obliterated what I was going to say.
Focus, Robin, focus.
There was a big hoo-ha about it. YouTube did change the algorithm, and people who were relying on various things were trashed, and they couldn't get the revenue anymore. And then there was a big well, actually, if you move to Patreon, you've got a revenue stream which is in your control. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what to do to the algorithm then. And I guess probably that's ideally what we'd like to be. We'd like to be in a position where people would contribute for a couple of our games, if you see what I mean, from two, not just Underworlds fans, but Champions fans and Necromunda fans, and that would be ideal. But I don't think we ever make enough content for that. But we'll see. We'll keep going and keep growing, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, if people had told us...
love to see Arkham Horror, so maybe I'll do that. I bought it to play with my wife, but we never get the time, so I don't know. That was a stupid idea. I think I just did that for justification to myself. That was all right.
So yeah, turn around to your wife and go, do you want to play this? You know we said we play it. No, I never said that. Oh.
Well, she's kind of into that kind of gothic horror-y type thing, so I thought, well, she might enjoy it, but I was just kidding myself.
Anonymous Jeff says he uploads one per child. Now he's run out of content. To be fair though, Jeff, I think your YouTube videos probably got more hits than all of ours put together. And I think, like you say, we're aiming more at not being reliant on YouTube, because I think it was last year they did that thing where they changed where you had to have at least 1,000 in order to stop people posting horrible videos online. They basically punished people who didn't have even 1,000 viewers. So some twat in America posted a video of someone who committed suicide. It was that, I can't remember his name, abhorrent little cancerous human being, whatever his name was. He probably earns he's probably like top 10 YouTube earner, whatever. But because he posted a video like that, YouTube were like, oh no, yeah, we're not going to let people monetize their content unless you've got at least 1,000 subscribers. Like, what's that got to do with that? That's just ridiculous. And that absolutely tanked us for several months on the YouTube side of things. But we'd already moved to Patreon, so we didn't care so much. It didn't really matter to us. And then they changed the ad revenue side, so we're like, oh, so now we're earning 20 quid a month on YouTube rather than 70, 80 quid a month on YouTube or whatever. So we just stopped caring about it and we concentrate on the Patreon side a bit more.
Yeah, and growing Patreon and having, because that's our kind of, not only is it great for the channel, it's great for our mental health as well, because the Patreon, the Discord's really good, really nice chat.
Yeah, I mean, I spend altogether far too much time on the Patreon and Discord, and it's just great to see them painting the people.
So you win the ranking.
Okay.
I know tactic. Yeah.
So it's that thing of, it's just great to be able to chat to people on there, and I just prefer that so much more than just getting stuff on YouTube that's going to get the hits. Whilst I'd like to have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and make enough that this could be our job, I'm happy with what we've got. I'm very happy with the Patreon support, and I think the little community we've got is great.
It's lovely. Gets me up in the morning, so to speak.
Every time I see, every time I open up my email or whatever, and I see somebody else has joined it, I'm like, Robin, somebody else has supported us on Patreon.
It's just the best feeling. Although when people leave, it's like,
we wanted to say goodbye.
I will say this, I've said this before, but I will say, if you do leave the Patreon, obviously that's completely fine. We won't come around and find you, but just say goodbye, because we, even if you've been quite quiet, we love to know when people go, and it's nice to say goodbye and thank you for your support and all that kind of stuff. Better still, don't leave. But
But yeah, I mean, quite often as well, especially for some people who've had to, really drop their membership level, or even if they have to cancel it, like, you don't have to leave Discord then, because it's part of just having that community, I think.
Yeah,
that's
like
maybe,
I wouldn't say that out loud, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, the knife's freaking me out a little bit.
You don't have to leave, but if you do,
we now store your address. Is that right?
yeah, we've got all the addresses.
Yeah, okay.
But by GDPR rules, you hope we couldn't find you. Well, that's true, but Patreon does store people's addresses. So for any of our $10 and up supporters, they get
cameras
merch.
to see you anyway. Yeah.
For all our $10 and up supporters, we do need your addresses because we send you merch.
We send you merch, yes.
Get
That'll
merch.
be coming soon, won't it, Pete?
Yeah, the first month for our questing nights will be happening next week. In fact, we need to start getting them packaged up. Got the dice ready.
Excuse me, must be time for bed.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Beautifully segued into the end there.
By yawning very, very, very noticeably. It's not because this is dull. I'm very tired and this is very dull. I mean, oh shit. I've no idea what we're going to talk about. Sorry?
I was up late last night playing Necromunda.
We were up a bit late. I think next week maybe we should just talk about other games, non-Underworlds games. Maybe we should talk about small mini-count games. Should that be our subject of discussion?
Sounds good. Small mini-count games. Maybe I'll look at the rules of Crisis Protocol between now and then.
That'd be quite cool. So I'm just reading I'm just reading the other comments. Yes, so I think we're gonna call it a night there. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We really need to get better at publicising these a bit more, and being a bit more.
You kind of need a secretary to do all sorts of things.
We need a social media bod.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Ed, because without Ed we wouldn't have Discord. That's been absolutely pivotal. So we need an Ed for social media, basically. So we're going to talk about Necromunda. We're going to talk about Necromunda, Blitzball, all that kind of stuff. Thank you all for joining us. Small mini count games is going to be our subject for next week. If you know anybody who isn't doing anything this time and out on a Tuesday, tell them to come along and listen in.
Join in, yeah.
Because the more people we get, the better this gets. Basically, when we have everybody taking part and chatting, it's fantastic. It's the main reason why I do it. I started tonight. I messaged Robin before we started, and I sent Robin a message saying I am really not up for tonight at all. And Robin said, neither am I. And you know what? I'm glad I did it now.
Yeah, it's always fun. I always really enjoy it. And I'm
Yeah.
glad and amazed that all you guys sit and listen to us.
Yeah.
So thanks for
Frankly,
watching.
you all deserve medals.
And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. So we'll see you soon in the Mirrored City, maybe the Underhive, or maybe the Blitzball Gridiron Pitch. Bye.